Hello, this is Jeffrey Tucker. I'm in Cumming, Georgia, in the studio of Gregory Johnson, who's the sculptor who's working with us on this magnificent and very exciting project of making replicas of the Mises bust. There are only two in the world, one of which sits in the offices of the Mises Institute. The demand is very intense, and it's all over the world. The idea of the project is to make it possible for everyone to have a Mises bust, whether it's in the library or in an office or anywhere it needs to be. And the bust itself has an exciting history, which I think I'll let the sculptor himself talk about. We should have that available, we hope, sometime in the summer of 2009. And it'll be available on the website and for order and shipping all over the world. It's a very exciting project. This is my first look at it. Doug French is here with me, the vice president of the Institute, and he's also examining where we've come so far. So I'll let the sculptor talk to you about where we are in the project and where we're headed.
Hi there, and welcome to my studio. My name is Gregory Johnson. I'm a sculptor. I've got here the original portrait bust of Mr. Mises. My understanding is that in 1955, a number of people showed up in his office with calipers, cameras, paper and pencil, and took all the necessary measurements to do a really wonderful likeness of this gentleman. I also understand he was totally annoyed with the process. Well, the good news is, working off of this bronze bust, I've been able to create a half-life likeness of this bust. This will be molded and cast in a cold cast bronze and mounted on a marble base that will make a wonderful piece for your library, your lobby, any other area where you show and collect your artwork. And as you can see, it's really a nice representation of our gentleman. It's really quite an honor. This is my first economist. As a sculptor, I've been asked to create a large number of projects. Over here you can see two of the ladies that are going at a local university. The one young woman is from 1900. The other is very contemporary from today's time. They're missing their arms and legs because that's how the process works. Once you finish the clay sculpture, you physically remove those extremities so that they can be molded and cast and later on attached. This is how I actually begin a sculpture. You see this girl is going to be thumbing through some books, and she's in a very pensive moment. And you'll notice that a threaded rod is coming out of her foot. These are the things that actually support the clay that allow it to stand freely. Up above, I've got a few plaster casts of different historical characters. George Washington, a local chief Sawney from North Georgia, a bishop, and a maestro. Typically, I do a wide range of sculpture, including war memorials, educational pieces, life-size bronzes of various individuals, and then portrait busts, and occasionally some miniature work as well for support of a larger piece. What you're looking at here is a study of William Bartram. William Bartram is one of the first botanists to come to the United States back in the 1700s. My understanding is that he was a very poor businessman in England and ran up a lot of debt. And in the middle of the night, he hopped on a ship and came to the United States, and at that time the colonies, and actually landed somewhere around North Carolina and began a walk from North Carolina to current-day Orlando, Florida, then back up through Georgia, somewhere over near current-day Columbus, all the way back up through Athens, Georgia, and ultimately back to North Carolina. During his trip, he documented a wide variety of plants and fauna. He sent many of those species back to England, where his father was. For example, he might have said, please name this the Bartram orchid. Instead, his father, almost being threatened with being put in jail as well, said to some of his affluent friends, we'll just call this the such and such orchid. And for the naming rights, those people paid the father money, which then in turn he paid the people that his son owed money to. So a sad story with a happy ending, because by the time he was through with his walk, he gave us a wonderful insight into colonial America. He paid all his debtors off in full and documented some things that are no longer in existence today. So here you see him. This is actually a study for a 7-foot-tall bronze sculpture for a local garden in the state of Georgia. He's got his magnifying glass, his plant, and would be his drawing board. And so he's studying the plant, looking at his drawing, making sure that the details are accurate. He has his little spectacles on and his smock. And of course, there are no pictures of this man as how he actually existed back then. So we do what we call a factual representation. All of these things could have existed at his time, and most likely would have been used by him. Once you get a client's approval, then you can take this and scale off of it and go on to make the 7-foot sculpture. You also get the freedom that you can move things around. So if you decided you wanted to open his arm up a little bit, you could do that. Or you could close it, or you can lower it, or you can raise it. So it gives you the freedom to move and animate the piece until you get it just exactly right.